Knick of Time Show. Go check out that show. It's a great show. It's a great show.
New York, New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from the Knick of Time Show. Here giving you that Knicks talk, just Knick of Time. The Knicks on a back-to-back lose in the Garden to the defending champs, to the Thunder, all right? We lose 100 to 103 advantage Thunder, all right? And Knicks actually did well, man. We were right into this game. We actually were leading in the fourth quarter after being down by 15, but could not put together a win and string together enough buckets to win on the end, even though we out-rebounded them 48 to 38. Although we have more points in the paint, 46 to 20, and more fast break points, 14 to 2. We just did not win, and we're going to talk about it all. Before we do, I'm going to introduce you to my peoples. First and foremost, the man, the myth, the legend, the god of the stats and the facts.
Ryan G's in the building. This loss, I'm not too mad at. The Knicks competed and they showed that they can hang around with the defending champs. So tough loss, but they played well.
Yeah, tough loss. Also, we have our ex-AAU coach, our girl, be the motivator. Was good, B?
Like Ryan said, I'm not mad today. I'm actually usually very upset here after some losses, but this was a game that you wish you would have won, of course, especially with the Celtics taking an L today, but we'll talk about it. I'm not too mad today. Feeling okay. I'm okay about it.
And you already know it is the Latin assassin, Bleacher Report contributor, ESPN contributor, my guy Elias Cabito. What's good, Lee?
The main man, B, Ryan. Fritz wants me to let you know, Jay, your mic is a little echoey. I hear it too. So I'll let you look at that while I do my little quick monologue. Hey, man, I'm not upset about this loss either. I'm with Ryan. We played our ass off. We fought hard in the trenches. This is exactly the type of effort you wanted to see in that Detroit game. You saw it tonight. We went down to the wire. The defending champs, and we did it without Mitchell Robinson and Deuce Bride. They did it without J-Dub, but I really love the effort tonight. Love the defensive effort. I thought the game plan was fantastic. The preparation was fantastic, as was the execution. Just, Jalen Brunson choked, and the two best players played for the Thunder tonight. So it is what it is.
Testing 1 2 3. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's a little bit better.
It's a little bit better. Hold on. You know what? Let me start off by saying, B, let me get your thoughts on the game. I want to get your thoughts on the game.
I already see the chat already talking about it. I thought the refs were absolutely horrible today, but I don't like to dwell too much, so I don't want to blame the refs at all because things like free throws not being made. I know me, I got to start off. We got to be better at free throws. I've been saying that since the beginning of the season, and I thought maybe by now we'd be a little bit better. But the fact that we don't really even get to the line, and when we do, we don't capitalize on it, we're going to fall into situations like this today. I think the game, like we said, there's some games where you lose and it's kind of like it sucks. There's some games you lose and you wish we had more effort. There's some games you lose and you wish you could get it back. This, I don't feel that way about today at all. I don't wish that we could get it back. I'm not mad at the effort. I'm not mad about anything because the fact that, again, we only lost by 3 to the defending champs, not a single player scored 20 points for us is crazy. I wouldn't necessarily say Jalen Brunson choked. Their defense was just, they had a better defensive plan against our greatest player. And I think we focused so much on Shea that we forgot about they have another all-star in Chet. I think that was the biggest issue with us. I would have loved to see us full strength. So I know some people also wish that we would have saved Mitch for this game, but I don't have any negative to really pull against the game except the fact that we have to take care of the ball. We have to shoot free throws better, because then we do fall into situations where we look at the refs and we're like, I wish we would have had that call. I wish we would have had that play. So aside from the refs and us not making free throws, it was one of the greatest games that I watched this season so far. I think it's up there despite the loss.
All right, can you hear me now?
Way better. Way better.
Yeah, I had to switch mics.
Silky smooth, bro.
There we go. All right, cool. We are back. All right, now let's get into it. This is one of those games I've been waiting for the entire season because of the chatter that was behind the Knicks versus OKC. I saw a lot of fans before the season even started talking about how the Knicks would get mollywopped by OKC. We don't belong in the same gym with them. They felt like we really didn't have a chance. That's the way a lot of fans felt in September, October, before we even played them. I was of the belief that the new offensive system we have would be able to kind of loosen the screws for us a little bit. Before we got mollywopped because of the turnovers. Both games versus OKC last season, we was super Jalen Brunson, hero-centric basketball, and because we were playing that way, they forced a lot of turnovers and got into the open break. We lost this game by 3 points. We forced more turnovers than they did. So from the rip, our defenses are better. I feel like our offensive system has been better, even though we didn't shoot well. I feel like the process has been better. I felt like, much like the Detroit's game, I felt like in the beginning we got clean looks and we were kind of just playing tight. It's like, well, we got a clean look. I'll just throw it up now. It's like instead of just shooting the ball, I kind of feel like the same thing was happening with the Detroit game. And I felt like the more the game went on, it got a little bit more relaxed and started playing a little bit off instinct. But I thought overall the Knicks did well. We lost. We could have won. I'm officially not scared of OKC after this loss. Not that I was scared before, but my thoughts of how we can compete, how we match up, how we compete with these guys have been more confirmed. That we lost by 3 in the last seconds, missing wide open threes that could have got us into overtime. Like I'm more stern in my belief that even though we didn't play well, we didn't shoot well, our defense is real, our rebounding is real. There's still things we can take from this game, and I think when it's playoff time, if we do match with them in the finals, I think it'll be a dogfight, and it could be either team winning. That's how I see it. Lee, what are you thinking of this?
I actually agree 100% with what you're saying, bro. I think it will be a dogfight when we see them in a 7-game series. I'm not scared of them. I have not been scared of them, but it's necessary to say they didn't have Jalen Williams, who is their second best player. Chet is not their second best player. J-Dub is their second most consistent player as well, and he's their best two-way player, in my opinion. He's an elite defender and a three-level scorer. Tonight, though, the two best players of the court belong to the OKC Thunder in Chet and SGA. And disagree with B. I don't think that Brunson choked overall. I think he got shut down. Absolutely, the defense shut him down. They blitzed the hell out of him, and he didn't have a secondary player he would depend on, an OG, Bridges, or Cat, to help him out. And that last second specifically shot, I thought that was a very good play that Mike Brown drew up, and Brunson choked on that shot. It is what it is, right? It's very rare he chokes, but every single superstar from Michael Jordan on down is going to have a handful of games where they miss a shot. So I'm not saying crucify Jalen Brunson. I'm just calling a spade tonight. The Knicks, there are lots of good things to pull from. And Jay, I'm very glad that you opened up with that because I agree 100%. I was focusing on the positives. And we won the rebounding battle without Mitchell Robinson. They had Chet, they had Jalen Williams, and they had Isaiah Hartenstein, and we won the rebounding battle by 10 without Mitchell Robinson. Thanks a lot to Cats. 17 monster boards. We only had 23 assists tonight. That's a lot because guys were missing shots. That leads towards, shoot 27% from three. I mean, it's hard to generate assists when that type of stagnation's happening and that type of breaking's happening. Also, I'm not a huge fan of his starting five. You guys know I've been the most vocal about Josh Hart needed to not be in the starting lineup and not being given to Landry Shamet. The starting five was a negative 36 tonight net rating. I think when we play the really good teams, Josh Hart should come off the bench, but I also understand the continuity of that, right? As someone who's played basketball has to understand, and I had to adjust to this too in my thinking, is that it's hard to tell a player, only the bad or the mid teams would want to start you, right? The good ones are not. So you have to make an executive decision. He either never starts or he always starts. And to me, I lean more towards never starting because our team has a true 5-out center. We should be being 5-out completely with Karl-Anthony Towns at the 5. Now, however, OKC showed why they are so good tonight, too. I love watching SGA because unlike Brunson, who rushed a lot of the offense tonight, really rushed and get into the sets, SGA is so calm, cool, and collected, doesn't hold the ball too long. He attacks the defense, collapses the defense, and then immediately sprays the ball out. He doesn't stay on the ball too long, doesn't over dribble. It's quick decision making, and keeps our defense rotating, which rotated very well tonight. I thought our rotations were the cleanest I've seen all season. But his quick spray outs, they provide situations all over the floor that helped Dort get wide open. It helped Jalen Williams get wide open. It helped Chet Holmgren get wide open, who had 28 points tonight, 6 of 11 from three. When he's confident hitting that three, it changes the dynamic of their team, because now SGA is seeing single coverage, and he's seeing more wide open lanes, and him and Chet worked so well. I wish Cat and Brunson take notes from them as a pick and pop duo. He forces the defense to choose between, are you going to help out on Shea, or are you going to give that clean perimeter look to Chet Holmgren? Tonight, we picked to double up on Shea and try to blitz Shea, and Chet was wide open for three. It's a tough trade-off to make, but SGA had struggled tonight too. I think that in some of our defense, Shamet and OG were especially good against him. Bridges not too much, but the cost of that was we really hoped too much again on SGA coming downhill, and that opened up their 3-point line. But again, I'm not focused on the negatives, just trying to do a balanced analysis. I walked away from this game very proud of our guys and looking forward to seeing them in the finals.
I thought Brunson did okay passing the ball. He had 15. This is a season high.
I'm not curious. I didn't say he didn't pass. Just thought that he got into the actions too quickly. The offense was very rushed. I don't think that we had a really good opportunity to get the guys who had the mismatch the ball. Instead, we were just kind of going with this 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4 passing, trying to get the open shot instead of look at the mismatch and saying, let me run the offense to town for a couple possessions to get him going.
I think that's one of the other things that we haven't. We've been. I feel like the last week of games we've been implementing Towns more in the fourth quarter, and I feel like we were trending up in that direction in these last few games. And today we didn't really do that. I think JB missed like an opportunity to hit Towns as a cutter in the fourth quarter. He was open. I felt like maybe we should have used Towns more as a screamer at the top of the key in the fourth quarter when it was the blitzing Jalen Brunson. Towns shot the best on the team outside of Mo Diawara, and we just still couldn't get him the ball. It's one of those things where I understand why they don't post him as much, because it feels like when we do try to deliberately post them, the offense slows down to a screeching halt, and it takes too much time off, and then we end up getting a weird turnover. But we still have to kind of use him and find a way to make him like a big part of action in the fourth quarter, especially when he's the guy being the most efficient. Ryan G, though, we haven't really had your thoughts on the game, so let me get your thoughts.
It was a tough competitive game. Not too mad at the Knicks losing. I like the way they defended SGA tonight, although SGA did shoot 9 of 60 from the field, over 50%. Looking at the stats, you're going to think that, he had a great game, but there were often times tonight where when the Knicks were guarding him, they made him look flustered a lot of times throughout the game. And I liked how they threw late doubles at him after he made his move. They threw doubles at him, and then whenever he got into the paint, they just pretty much swarmed him on defense and either forced him to pass the ball or to commit a turnover, because he had 3 turnovers tonight. So I was really impressed with the defense that they played on SGA, although he did have a pretty good game if you look at the stats. And, Chet Holmgren, he had a good game tonight as well. Knicks couldn't really find an answer for him. He did cool off in the second half, but in the first half, he was really killing the Knicks, and that's part of the reason why OKC was able to come out to an early lead, because of his buckets. Overall, I can't really be too mad. I mean, Brunson, he didn't have it tonight, but 15 assists, you can't be too mad at that. He knew he didn't have his shot going, so he got other players involved, which was a positive. Unfortunately, he missed the shot to tie the game late in the game, but at the same time, when it comes to clutch shots like that, you're not going to make them all. You're going to make some, you're going to miss some. So it's that's how it is. You have to roll with the punches. So I think the Knicks can be proud of the fact that, they did hang around with the defending champs, a team that smacked them last season. They were able to hang around with them this time around, and it went down to the wire. Knicks could easily tie this game and bring it to overtime. So there's a lot of positives to take from this game because the Knicks weren't fully healthy. There was no Mitch, no Deuce. They were able to hang in there. Yeah, OKC may not have had their second best player in Jalen Williams, but at the same time, the fact that they were still able to hang in there with especially with two major players come off the bench, it's a positive. You can't really be mad at that. So it's just one of those wins where it's like it gives you confidence going forward because you're like if you face the team in the finals, you already know that you can compete with them. You're not really scared of them although they beat you. So it's one of those games you can keep your head up and be like, you know what, we lost. It is what it is. Close game. They got us. If we face them in the finals, we'll see what's up. So overall, proud of the performance tonight despite the loss.
You know what? Lee talked about Josh Hart and sitting him or not starting him. B's been freaking killing us in the grand group chat, talking about how she's the most polarizing, annoying play to her outside, not Macau, not anybody else. It's Josh Hart. I feel like the bench Josh Hart chatter is going to start to get louder and louder the more you have games like this, because he has not been shooting well since the All-Star break. He has been in this incredible slump. So I'm gonna toss it to B. I'm gonna ask her, how do you think we should handle the Josh Hart minutes moving forward? Are we getting closer to the benching versus not benching of Josh Hart?
I'll be honest. It's unfortunate. I think we're gonna have to live with the fact that Josh Hart is in our starting lineup. But we have to talk about it because sometimes it's crazy how us fans can see certain things that as NBA players or NBA coaches, how can you not make these adjustments? I know a lot of DOR talk happens with it, but if we're being realistic, a rookie's not going to start in our contending team. So I just would like to see DOR play a little bit more minutes, but to start, not be realistic. I would have to go with what Lee has been saying all season. Realistically, if you do, and if you are going to start someone else in Hart, it has to be clearly Shamit, McBride, or Mitch. In this situation against OKC, it was clearly Shamit. Every time Shamit came into the game, there was a run. Every time. It wasn't just one or two times. Every time Shamit came into the game, there was a run. I do want to really quickly say, though, shout out to Jalen Brunson for another game with 3 charges. I think this is like the 10th game this season where he continuously takes charges, and his defense was great despite the fact that he shot the ball very terribly offensively. We were on a back-to-back, so I will give that to maybe even Hart too. Back to Hart. Back to backs are tough, and he has been dealing with injuries. Bad back is terrible. I dealt with a bad back, and I still do. And when it's raining or something, I feel it. So I do understand. But this is what I like to say, where stats don't tell the whole game, because again, Shea had 26, Hart had a double, but it's how did those statistics come along during the game? Those 12 rebounds, the rebounds were great, but it's 10 points. They were. I would say the 6 points he had towards the end of the game were we needed those buckets at the end, but anything else that he did throughout the game was horrible. From terrible fouls, from turning the ball over, from shooting. They leave you open for a reason, and sometimes you live with it, you take it, they're leaving you open, but that's why teams are leaving you open. So that's where I would like for him to go onto the bench and come out with some shooters. I don't see how I would love to see him come out with maybe Mitch, Hart, and Jose. I think that'd be a great bench, a three-way coming off the bench, but I just don't see how to, and it's hard. He's just frustrating. That's why I don't want to be too controversial, because I don't like to say something and then later on take it back. And Hart is one of those. He's one of those players where you say it and then he has the game and it's like, and I thought after the last game he would have that kind of game today, but no, yeah, I would take Hart out of the starting lineup, and I agree with Lee. You don't just, a guy like him of his stature, the things that he's done for our organization, you don't just say to him, oh, you suck and you're not going to play against Detroit and OKC, but I'm going to start you against the Nets. Like, you're not going to do that to a guy like that. So I think if you're going to make the move, you're going to have to hurt his feelings, put ego aside, and put the bigger picture. And I've seen it time and time over from when you get rid of your Marcus Smarts, you get rid of your guys like that, and all of a sudden you win. And I think, unfortunately, I am going to say it, that's what's going to happen in time with Josh Hart. We're going to have to eventually either remove him or move him in general to win. And it's just unfortunate because the statistics tell a different picture. But if you watch the games, it's very clear that he cannot play against these big games. start against these big games.
I like B, the motivator, with a very bold take. Proud of you, sis. That's not only did you give a bold take, but I thought you supported it really well. Now, I don't know if I agree that we can't win a championship or we won't win a championship until he's moved. However, that's a very strong take from you, and that's the type of take I don't usually hear from you. And I'm going to use this time to agree with you and make a case alongside you for him being taken out of the starting unit. Tonight was a good example, and I shout out to people who read the KOT Substack. My Josh Hart piece, we got 10 subscribers on that and over 250 likes on Twitter. The last couple of Substacks have been blowing up. I'm getting hella followers. I don't know. Maybe the writing's getting better or y'all like the topics I've been covering. I'll keep it up, man. I appreciate the support to y'all, especially Fritz. You'd be sharing it all the time, my main man. To me, we've seen the center on Hart tonight, man. The coverage was hella disrespectful, man. It wasn't just sagging off of him 3-4 feet on the perimeter. Mike Brown's, when he always adjusts about the end of the first quarter or start the two, he moves into the dunker spot and kind of has him do those ghost cuts, right, to the 3-point line and then back to the dunker spot so he doesn't call for three in the tee. They were completely dosing him. No bodies were near him, and that allowed that really hard blitz that Jalen Brunson was seeing the entire game is when he was sharing the floor with Josh Hart. And B's been saying in the chat, no wonder Josh sits and all of a sudden we go on to run. Why? Because now you have to guard all five guys. You can't guard one like a zero gravity spacer. That kind of coverage, it allows OKC to over defend at the key spots in which we initiate our offense. At the nail, the top of the driving lane, at the top of the key. They can start playing the passing lanes. They know that Hart, when he catches it in certain spots, is going to defer and pass out. So you can jump that lane and steal the pass, which they did tonight, and it drove me absolutely crazy. And the main problem I have with Hart is the hesitation is he's so consistent with being inconsistent. It's not just that the shot is bad and he's on this bad shooting streak. It's when he hesitates. It allows the defense to get set. And the problem is he's usually the first one down the court, and then he hesitates, and the entire transition opportunity is now blown to hell because now the defense is set and all five guys are back. Another way that we've been talking about Hart. Oh, now Mike Brown is using him as a strainer for Jalen Brunson. Well, tonight, a team with elite defenders 1 through 12, not even Detroit, has this level of depth defenders, guys who can guard up like OKC. I think they have the best defensive rotation in the NBA, especially on the perimeter. All those high ball screens that Hart was setting for Brunson, shit didn't matter. They didn't respect him as a scoring threat off the pop or off the catch, and all those actions created zero advantages because OKC was comfortable blitzing Brunson in that high pick and roll because Hart's defender, it's not going to tag Hart as a roller. He's going to stay on Brunson. So now Hart's just chilling on the perimeter with nobody around him, too scared to shoot, and if he does shoot, he bricks it. That type of defense kills our starting momentum, and now every first quarter we're either down or it's a super close nail-biting game, and the advantage doesn't come until the bench comes in. That's why I say put him in when there's an advantage that matches his skill set and bring him off the bench. It's time for Shamet to start, at the very least, to close. Hart should not have came back in the game when he did, or at least come back in and then set in the last 3 minutes and allowed Shamet to be in that spot. I know Shamet was out there too, but keep Shamet out there and put someone else in that rotation, whether it's Alvarado or somebody else, because those Hart minutes, they absolutely killed us and made us have to claw back into the game.
The only reason he came back in the game was because Cat got in foul trouble, and is like, who are you putting in a center? Huck Porty? I don't know. Exactly.
I don't know how you can get a sample size that you got from Jeremy Shohan and not play him again.
Yo.
But we'll get into that. I'll let Ryan cook for a second.
I have a different perspective. I'm not fully on board with B and Lee's take on this. I do agree that, eventually you're going to have to take Josh Hart out the starting lineup and go with Shamet or somebody else in that starting lineup. I just don't think it's as dire as both of them are making it out to be, because like a game like tonight, Josh Hart was ineffective, but against the top 5 teams this season, Knicks have a winning record. So is that Josh Hart's fault as well? That, is that his fault also? The fact that Knicks have a winning record against top 5 teams this season, both in the East and the West? And then on top of that, I'm like, last season, there was definitely a case because Thibs overused Hart last season. Hart was averaging 37 minutes last season. Hart's only averaging 30 minutes this season. So they're kind of hedging Hart's minutes. And I think that you can start Hart, but at the same time, you can hedge his minutes a bit where it's like where he's not out there as long as he should be. And I think that's what they're doing this season. They kind of pull back on Hart's minutes to where he's not out there playing 40, 41 minutes, etc. on the Thibs, where you often have those disadvantages with him on the court. They are pulling back on his minutes a bit. And I do think that the Knicks can overcome Hart being in the starting lineup in the regular season. I don't think it's that dire where it's like, oh my gosh, we need to take Hart out of the starting lineup now, with the rest of the regular season to go. I don't think that's the case. Now when the playoffs come and you go with that starting lineup and you see like, oh, okay, we're playing some games, Hart's in the starting lineup, we're falling behind in games, we have to claw back. Maybe this matchup doesn't work with Hart in the starting lineup, then yes, playoff time, you make that change and be like, you know what? We're trying to win a championship. You're not working in the starting lineup. That's when we take you out and replace him in the starting line. But I don't think it's that dire of a situation where it's like, it's like the 63rd game of the season. We're like, oh no, let's take Josh Hart out the starting lineup and just put in Shamit to like, I don't see the point right now. It's like the Knicks are doing good as currently constructed. I don't see a dire need to take him out the starting lineup at the moment. But when playoff time comes, I think that's when the stakes are higher. You're fighting for a championship, then that's when it's like feelings got to get hurt. Like if you're hurting the team in a certain way, then we have to make certain adjustments to win that series. But as of right now, I don't see it as a dire like move that the Knicks have to make right at this moment.
I agree with Ryan. He articulated it better than I would have, but I agree with Ryan. I just feel like you do have to have that one eye on him though, because like I said before, and I said this a show before, usually in the playoffs, the shooting picks up. He gets into shooting practice mode. He gets in there with Peter Patton, whoever the hell he's going to be in there with, and whenever we start the playoffs, he starts shooting well because he already knows it's coming and he gets his reps in. And as long as he's shooting well, you keep him in there. But if it starts to waver, then you go with somebody else, whether it be Shamit for certain teams or Mitch for certain teams. Now today, I felt like because OKC has like a little bit of a shorter lineup, you can kind of get away with Shamit more, and you're not going to get as bullied. Certain teams, you're not going to be able to get away with starting Shamit because of the bigger small forwards posting him up or just overpowering him. So it really depends on who. It really depends on matchups and who we're playing on the other side of the ball. If you, like I said before, numerous times, if you're playing the Cavs, I would do double big. But as for now, I would keep him in there, but I would pull him faster though. I think that's the one thing I would do. I would pull him faster if I see he's not real.
I think why losing sucks so much is because, yes, unfortunately, there's always a scapegoat. There's always someone that you have to point the finger at. And right now, yes, it is Josh Hart. So I agree with you slightly, Ryan, where it's not totally Josh Hart's fault why we have not won certain games with him in the starting lineup. However, you have to go into detail as to why sometimes we are losing this game. And this is not just, yes, we have statistically a winning record, but there were certain games that we lost. We lost when the acquiring of Josh Harden's Cavs with Josh Hart starting. We've lost all 3 games to Detroit with Josh Hart starting. We've now lost to OKC with Josh Hart starting. These are games that we want to win when it comes playoff time. We're not necessarily worried about a lot of other teams, and I don't like to not do that either because you never know come to playoff times. Injuries happen. Other people start to step up. Their lights get bright, and there's, who knows who's going to do what come that time. But these are 3 teams that we are looking to play when it comes to the postseason. And we have not won against those teams with Josh Hart in the starting lineup. So that's where you have to make the moves now to see who you will win with when those times come. So that's why, again, I don't want to fully blame Josh Hart, but we also have to realize when are we winning with Josh Hart and when are we not? That's like also when OKC was starting 16-1 this season, everybody had them. We're so scared of them. But then when you looked at the records, they were playing below 500 teams. They were playing low. They were playing a lot of teams that were not that great. And then when they bumped into the Spurs, they bumped into the Rockets, they bumped into Denver, they took some losses. They almost took a loss against the Knicks. I believe I don't know who they recently lost to, but they took some losses against the top contending teams. So that's why I sat back and like, this is the team we're scared of that's beating the Suns, the Blazers, the Wizards. I'm not scared of a team like that. So that's where, again, I would make the adjustments sooner than later because we now have to start looking at the bigger picture. Hey, there were some people who were saying, we want to start mid so we can stay high. At this point, whether you're the 8th seed, 5th seed, 3rd seed, 1st seed, you have to play 3 teams in your conference before you get to the finals, despite what seed you are. And with this New York Knicks team, this is the roster that we have. I'm not scared of anybody in 7 games. So I don't care where we land at this point. I want to make sure we have the right rotation before we get to that point, because that's where we fell short in the Pacers series. We didn't know who to put when, where, when, and how, and then that made us experiment later on in the season. So again, I'd rather us experiment now with the 15, 16, 17 games that we have left than to then in the postseason say, oh, by the way, now you're not going to start. So if you're not going to start now, it's better to swallow that pill than to then do it in the postseason.
I'll say this.
Oh, go ahead.
The Spurs. What was the starting lineup in that game that the Knicks smacked the Spurs?
Which this season?
Yes.
I could double check for you. Why double check? You could cook.
It's probably the same, right?
Yeah, Josh Hart was in that starting lineup.
There was no Mitchell.
The game against the Rockets, the Knicks came out. The Knicks came out hard in that game before they had to come back and win that game. Who was in that starting lineup? Josh Hart. Pistons. I don't care who was in the starting lineup for the Knicks. Knicks were getting smacked all 3 games because the way they came out against the Pistons in all those 3 games, it didn't matter who was in the starting lineup. Knicks were getting smacked.
Yeah.
That's another thing too. This is what I'm talking about. It's like against the top teams, you're not going to win every game anyway. It don't matter who's in the starting lineup. You're going to lose some of them. You're not going to win all of those games. But this is what I'm talking about. Like we want to use Josh Hart as a scapegoat now because in this game against OKC. We saw OKC took advantage of Hart and pretty much, had the one up on the Knicks. At the same time, towards the end of the game, they weren't guarding Josh Hart, but Josh Hart was finding a way to still produce. He was still finding ways to still produce and get the Knicks back in the game to even give them a chance to win the game. So it's like, I understand the sentiment, and I agree from the standpoint of if the Knicks are going to maximize probably their chance to win a championship, yeah, of course, yeah, but you probably need to bench Josh Hart and go 5 out so that you force teams to guard everybody as opposed to like, you guard. It's a kind of like 5 against 4 where it's like you take one guy out for one guy and you have him kind of, whether you have him in like a zone where it's like, he doubles on Brunson or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't feel like in a lot of these big games, Hart is the sole reason as to why the Knicks lost the game, especially in the regular season. So to me, it's like, I think it's we're looking at one game and blowing it out of proportion as opposed to being like looking at the bigger picture in the season and looking at how he's been in every game this season. So to me, it's like, that's why I feel like I don't feel like it's a move that has to be made right now. But like I said, when certain matchups call for a change, you make that change. And I agree with Jay's point as well. Like, you can start him in games and be like, okay, you know what? This game's not going too well. Let's take him out early, replace him, whether it's, you have to put in Mitch, whether you have to put in Shaman, whatever the matchup dictates. But I don't think it's that dire of a need where it's like, damn, like we're not gonna, it's not gonna be like, oh, we can't win no more games with Josh Hart in the damn lineup for the rest of the season. Like, I just feel like he's used as a scapegoat a lot of times, and sometimes it's more than just Josh Hart in a lot of those games, especially the earlier games this season.
This is the first time that I've strongly ever disagreed with Ryan G on the KOT show, and I'm going to relish in it a little bit because I've never had the chance to debate him because he rarely has a take that I feel like I want to debate. It's always very even-keeled. I disagree 100% with you, bro. Every team you named, the Spurs, Detroit, OKC, we started from behind. And the reason for that is because of the bad spacing. And those 3 teams you also named are all 3 championship contenders with championship level defense. And they steam Josh Hart, and they don't give a shit about how Mike Brown adjusts or start using him as a strainer for Brunson. They still sag off him, and they allow Hart to stay in the perimeter and be a non-factor on the offensive end. My suggestion is not to continue decreasing his minutes or even his role. I'm just saying, let's start 5 out. Let's start the game with Landry Shamet and allow Karl-Anthony Towns to have more wide open threes tonight. He took 0. That is partially because of how much we have to use Josh Hart above the break on the three-point line as a ball stringer when the three-point shot's not there or he's too hesitant to shoot it. Now that cramps up Karl-Anthony Towns' ability to space out on the perimeter because now he has to be more on the block or in the pinch post, which he's good at, but it limits his ability to be a 3-level scorer, which is why we brought him in here. We can't be 5 out with Hart in the lineup, not just because of his shooting percentage and the slump he's in, but he's also the hesitancy. A 40% three-point shooter is different than someone who is constantly a legitimate 40% shooter. That stat does not really dictate who he is. He's having a good season, but he's not a year-over-year 40% three-ball shooter. He's having a great season, but now that's dipping. Let's start games without having to be from behind and have a claw our way back. Let's start with 5 guys who all shoot 3, who all are playing above average defense, and see where that gets us. And if it doesn't work in the playoffs, that first series, adjust and put Hart back in the lineup. But I'm not calling to decrease his role or to bench him completely or to decrease his minutes. I'm just advocating for starting with Shamet instead of Hart every game.
And also, just wanted to finish that with you, Lee. I agree with you. We're on this together. We've actually been calling Josh Hart out since last season. So this is actually not just the fact that we lost today and we're panicking. We felt like since last year, Josh Hart should not be in the starting lineup.
Yeah. That's the tricky part with the Josh Hart thing because like I said, like it's the ebb and flow with Josh Hart, yo. It's the same thing. Like we say, get him out the starting lineup in the offseason. The season starts, he starts shooting threes. We're like, oh my God, he's the best player ever. And then like we're on this damn high. And I believe the same thing happened right after All-Star break last year. The starting 5 had like the worst plus minus of any starting 5. And it was for the same reason. Josh Hart being hesitant to shoot. Josh Hart not shooting. It's the same. It's happening again from him shooting out of his mind to dipping off again. So it's it's
you got to learn from your mistakes. I don't. That's why again I'm not big on numbers or statistics. If you actually watch the games, like we're watching them,
it's frustrating. But it's like when the play, like I said before, like if everything happens like it did last year, we probably expect Josh Hart to shoot better from 3 in the first playoff series like he did with the 76ers. Like if that because that's also been the trend. The only time, huh?
We better hope we play the 76ers.
Right, but like here's the thing though, if we playing a team with a real power forward, like a real guy who he can't get the rebound over, then that neglects all of that. Then we got to bench him. Because I feel like if he's guarding Chet, or if he's guarding freaking Jared Allen or Mobley, or a real big man, then I think we have to rethink our strategy. It's funny because I don't know if you want to say something, Ryan.
No, I'm gonna end it with this because there's not gonna really be a winner this debate or whatever the case may be. But I'm just gonna say this: like I really do think it's his inconsistencies. It's his inconsistency that really kills him when he's in the starting lineup. Because, like Jay said, like there's gonna be games where he shoots really well, where he's gonna actually be effective. But then there's other games where he's hesitant to shoot, and that really hurts the team as a whole. So I do feel like if Josh Hart was the type of player where he was a bit more consistent with his shot and he actually took the shots when they're actually available, I don't think people would be calling for his head as much. But it's games like this where he's hesitant, that's when people call for his head.
Yeah, and especially in games like this, I know people were like, don't shoot as much. When you got Alex Caruso guarding freaking Karl-Anthony Towns, shoot the damn ball, because that's pretty much an assist. That's pretty much an assist. You got Alex Caruso guarding Karl-Anthony Towns. How many offensive rebounds did Karl-Anthony Towns have?
9, 10.
Yeah, he would have had 15. All right. So that's what I'm saying. He would have had 15.
I don't want to discredit Caruso so much. I can see why they put him on it because he's actually a good defender, which is why again I'm not okay with Chet Hart playing guys like Chet. I understand why OKC puts Alex Caruso on on Towns because he's a good defender and he could possibly come up with some steals.
He guarded Joker. Remember that?
Yeah.
Playoffs?
And he actually played Joker very well. He actually also guarded Wimby at some point this season, and he actually played
him down.
Recently. Yeah. So that's the difference between a Caruso and a Hart. He's actually a good defender, and Hart is not. He picks and chooses. And it's funny how we say this. We say this. Who hasn't been bad defenders, who's been actually decent, and they actually technically are worse than Hart defensively. Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns, who actually showed today that they were actually great defenders. You can't have 3 bad defenders and then leave it all on OG and Mikal. So that's where that's where he's my biggest frustration this season. At least with Towns, when he's playing terrible, when he was playing terrible, when he was our scapegoat at some point this season, he still rebounded. There was never a doubt the fact that he wasn't going to get rebounds. At least he was getting rebounds. Same thing with Mikal. If you're not going to get his defense, sometimes you get the offense. If you're not getting the offense, you're at least going to get the defense or even facilitation. You're going to get something from Mikal. You're not just going to get an all-around bad game where he is at least not playing defense or not shooting the ball well. With Hart, but my point, I got to get to my point though. With Hart, if he's not shooting the ball well, we can't not bank on his defense. If he's not playing defense, we cannot bank on his offense. And that's where, again, I'm just
Agreed.
Not totally in on Hart in the starting lineup.
I think it depends on the matchup too. Like for instance, yesterday versus the Raptors, I wouldn't say Hart was playing well offensively until maybe like the fourth quarter. But defensively, I felt like he did a really good job on Brandon Ingram.
Great job. He played him the best, in my opinion.
Right. But I feel like Hart really struggles. When he does struggle, to me, it's his help and recover. I feel like he's really sometimes with the help and recover.
Cool.
I think that's the back. I think that's his back.
Right. And that's why you've seen Chet with wide open threes multiple times this year because he wasn't recovering the way he's supposed to.
Facts.
And I think that's what you're really talking about. But and also too, it's like against power forwards, against real power forwards. Like, what are we doing with Josh Hart and real power forwards defensively? Let's be real. All right.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And you know what? All this Josh Hart talk is kind of taking away from the brilliance of Landry Shamet because he had a hell of a game today.
Yeah.
Not many people shot well today or felt like had a big impact. And it's crazy because he didn't hit a 3. He was 0 from 3, but he just felt his force. The fact that he was a threat from 3 and that he was respected opened up the floor and opened up driving lanes for himself, really. Yeah. Because I felt like he just did a really good job attacking. I don't know what's happened over the last week or all-star break, but he just been going to the hole so much. And he had like an and one in traffic from a pass from Karl Anthony Towns that was freaking beautiful.
Beautiful.
He's been like doing these pirouettes to the basket. I really enjoyed watching Landry Shamet play basketball just because of the pure force he's played with. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I'm Shamet's #1 fan, man. I was calling for him to start last year, and all the heavy hitters on Twitter were roasting me because I said that. But I was like, what does he not do at least an average level? Defend the point of attack. He switches, pretty good. He's a decent rebounder for his size. He can guard up. He hits a 3. He's a good free throw shooter. Now he's added that midi to his bag, and he's added more confidence driving to the lane. Also, and why he should start, he plays well with everybody. He's not someone that like, oh, you can't stagger him and you have to stagger him and Mitch, or it can't be Sohan and Hart. It's like, no, you can put Shamet with anyone, and he's going to be able to get all the things that he brings to the offensive table and the defensive table. And I think the connectivity he has with Cat reminds me of Randall and Fournier a little bit, man. I want to see more of that. I like what he brings to the table, and I think we're on a very, very good minimum deal. He is someone who I think every team that wins a championship, you think about their roster, the Isaiah Joes, the three-point guys, right? The Christian Brauns, they have a Shamet, and now we do. And he's got a lot of playoff experience, and he seems to be really beloved by his teammates and trusted by his teammates. Brunson seems to trust him as well, which is key, right? He hasn't really trusted a shooter since Debo. He didn't really trust Grimes that much or quickly. So even more evidence for why he should share a lot of minutes. For Brunson, the best way to do that is to start. But either way, man, if he ain't starting, at least close with him.
I agree. And he played more minutes than Josh Hart today.
Good. He should have.
Yeah.
Yes, he should have.
Go ahead, B.
Shamit has been impressed me all season, and I actually pointed that out last show. I'm glad you checked on it again, Jay. I like the fact that he's driving more. He has been a great shooter, but the fact that he can be a threat and then some of them come out and he can drive the lane and create and ones has been. I'm actually really, really impressed by that lately. But I don't really have much to say because he's been doing it all season. And the fact that, again, we have to keep emphasizing he is on a min. He is on a min. And this is a steal. A lot of us called him back this season. And I think the biggest thing for me, I'm shocked on how great his defense and his shooting has been this season. But I always felt the chemistry was important for us. Bringing a new body in and having to gel with somebody who actually went through a big season with us and kind of fell short. I felt that if he had came back and had another run with us, he could become a big part for us. So I would always just keep emphasizing he's having a great season, and at some point I hope that he at least makes a bag, could get a couple mil in his bank account because he deserves it. He's been in the league. After he gets the ring though, he gets the ring, then get paid. Get the ring and get paid. Get the ring and get paid. But he's been in this league for such a long time. He's always been a class act, always done his job despite the injuries. I love that for you. Despite the injuries, he's always been a class act. Wherever he goes, he does his job, plays his position. So I don't really have much to say with Shamit, except keep doing what you do. We appreciate it.
Can we get some money on get him some money like on the back end or something?
Yeah. Get him like
on special.
He has nice hair, a hair endorsement or something. He has nice hair, nice body too. I'm sorry guys, he does have a nice body. Get him a nice little something. But yes, I hope he does get paid one day. Gets the ring and then get paid one day.
No more podcasts. I don't want to.
No. But ladies, I know I got Ken in here. He does say you could put a bag over his head. He has a nice body.
Oh boy, what are we talking about here? My God.
They want to have some endorsements, man.
Oh my God.
JLS, we found someone more pause worthy than me. I didn't think it was possible.
Oh my God. I think you need Ebony here. I think you need Ebony here for that one, for that conversation.
But I just want to add my 2 cents because Lee and B pretty much did everything. I think the thing about Shamit's game that I like right now is the fact that he's driving more to the basket, because when you're a good 3-point shooter and teams close out on you, to get the best way to have a player at least hesitant to close out on you is that you have to show them another look, meaning that you have to drive to the basket sometimes when a team closes out on you, because first and foremost, when a guy is closing out on you, their momentum is going towards you, which means that gives you the chance to go around them and drive to the basket, because now they have to recover off of you closing you out so hard. So I like the fact that he's doing that, as you know, and adding that to his game rather than just being a spot up shooter, you know, and that guy just looking for in the corner. And I think, you know, him adding that little tweak to his game where he's driving to the basket, getting to the rim, and, you know, and finishing at the rim and, you know, drawing fouls and things of that nature, I think that's the thing that's going to take him to the next level. So, you know, I'm glad to see that in Shamit's game. And yeah, you know, he's definitely been very effective this season coming off the bench. And yeah, I do believe if the matchup dictated, he should start.
Nobody wants Mo Diawara starting.
He's future.
So
can we talk about Mo Diawara?
Mo Diawara has some stones, man. Pause. Mo Diawara is not. He came in that motherfucker gunning. All right, locked and loaded. First shot 20. Because they, you know, I'm watching the game. They got the little graphic that tells you how many feet away you shooting. First shot he shot with like a 25-foot three. Cash. No rim.
0.5 seconds too, like 0.5 seconds. He just
Then them corner threes. We got another corner boy on the team hitting the corner threes. Defensively, he's a stout too. Wara's gonna be a problem, man. He is gonna be a problem. He's coming fast. Pause. I really like this game. Only thing is, the turnovers got a little bit away from him.
Yeah.
because of his aggressiveness, but I still like it though. Make the coach pull me out because I'm being too aggressive and put me back in. I rather being oh my god. I'd rather be too aggressive. I'd rather rookies be too aggressive than passive.
Facts.
Like I'd rather you be that than Bacone at this, or whatever other rookie that we had problems with that wasn't aggressive.
Grimes. In fact, I wanted to look up best 51st picks ever. Kyle Korver was a 51st pick. Other than that, this list is trash. So we might get the best 51st pick ever. But continue.
I'm gonna take it a step further. I said I have a hot take. This is my hot take. I actually think Mohamed Diawara is going to be the Knicks' best draft pick since Kristaps Porzingis. Now,
oh, okay.
Yes,
that's scorching hot.
Listen, better than Bob Barrett?
Yes. I have never been someone who's been on this podcast or in my writing or on Twitter that was like a super fan of a young kid. Of all the kids, IQ was my favorite, but I wasn't a super fan. I think I would even say JLS is a bigger Quickly fan than me, but I was never really heavy into Grimes or Deuce. No, I like these guys, right? But I'm not a super fan. I am a super fan of Mohamed Diawara because to me, he embodies where the NBA is trending towards with his size and his skill, his three-point shot, his ability to guard 1 through 4, the tight handle for a rookie, which I think can even get better as time goes on. And I know there's a lot of discourse right now on Twitter about overrating him, right? And people would say I just overrated him, and I'm totally fine with that criticism. Throw it my way, right? However, when I watch him and the confidence and how the confidence is coming from a player who's on a championship contender, not a player like what Quickly walked into, or Obi walked into, or Grimes walked into, where you're in like year 1 of the rebuild or year 2 of the rebuild. He's walked into a contender with extreme expectations, and he's balling out against the best teams in the NBA when elite defenders are guarding him, when elite defenders are trapping him, when elite defenders are goddamning him space on the three-point line and they're closing out hard on him. He is still shooting or putting the ball on the floor and starting to attack closeouts. I looked at that, and I'm like 3 or 4 today from the three-point line. I mean, listen, man, once he starts getting more to the hoop and drawing fouls, his handle tightens a little bit more, and he starts developing a mid-range game, whether it's a push shot or a pull-up. I don't know what the ceiling is. I think Porzingis, we watched it from day one. We were like, that's an all-star, right? I think Diawara, at the minimum, is going to be a one-time all-star. I think the ceiling is very, very, very high.
Save this for later.
Just because of his ability to scale. There's no size issue. There's no defensive issue. There's no shooting issue. There's no critical issue that most young players have, especially second-round picks have, where they're either way too short or way too slow or can't shoot or can't defend or no athleticism. He's got all of it. We haven't even seen him dunk yet. But I just think that this guy can scale to a really high level. Within 3 years, he's our second or third best player, because I know Leon Badon is doing that McBride contract, lock him in for 3 seasons. I have no doubt about that. Shout out Rod Hebrew. But I need Diawara to continue being able to work through those issues on the court. Didn't like how Mike Brown pulled him. Whether it's too aggressive, too many threes, let that man cook. Don't yank him and kill his confidence. Even though his confidence is sky high, I still think that he should be allowed to make mistakes on the court, especially when the minutes, he's always a plus. Tonight he was a +3 in his minutes. Let him stay on there. Let him continue to develop, because I think he's going to be in that playoff rotation.
Was Mitch drafted before or after Porzingis?
After. He was a Kevin Knox.
Yeah. Mitch was drafted, and Porzingis was out. You said a lot there. You said a lot. All right.
It's gonna be one of those things that we look back and cook, but if not,
listen. Anything is possible. The gambit is there. Okay, all-star. I have to go with this conversation. All-star. Yeah. What is an all-star? All right. There's different types of all-stars. There's all-stars that are the leaders of their team, and they are the engine for their team as a scorer. Will he be that? So right now, that's really hard to say because he doesn't create enough as a primary to do that. But there's also all-stars who are like when the team is like a top 2 team, and the guy who's kind of like playing off of the main guy, and it's like there's 3 guys in there, and then they're so good, we're gonna let the third guy in there. Will he be that? Maybe. That's what like a Derek White-ish role or something. I don't know. Like that's the way I see it. If that's the case, for me, there's a lot of potential, man. There's definitely a lot of potential. He can defend. The 3-point shot is already there. I think for me, it's going to be how he reads closeouts. How can he create off as a secondary initiator? Will he ever be a primary? I don't know. But secondary, I can definitely see it. All-star, woof, that's lofty. That's lofty.
Yep.
Yeah, I do believe that as long as Diawara stays with the Knicks, I do see him as an eventual starter. I don't see him as being a role player his whole career, as in coming off the bench. I do see him as an eventual starter with the tools that he has. Now, whether he's going to be a solid starter or all-star, it's hard to really predict that at the moment, because you don't know what his like growth potential is going to be. You don't know, because there's a lot of factors that go into it. But I think at the moment, what he is showcasing is that the skill set is there, the defending multiple positions, the handle is there, the playmaking is there. Although we don't see it a lot during the regular season, but he did show some of it during the summer league. So it's in him to play make as well. And he has the tools to be an impact player at this level. So I do think as he develops throughout the years, he will eventually become a starter in this rotation. I would love it if he becomes an all-star, definitely. But the tool set is there. And I think the most important thing that he has right now that's going to dictate him turning to a starter is the confidence, because he's highly confident as a rookie, only 20 years old, and he's out there balling. And I love the aggressiveness. Yeah, sometimes he might be a little out of control, but that's with every rookie. Every rookie, you're gonna get your mistakes. But I just love the confidence that he has in his play. And the fact that he's really out there playing with no fear. And I'm telling you, one of these years, I got to see ISO Sham God from Diawara. I got to see it. One of these years, I got to see it. It's going to come. I don't know if it's going to be next season, the season after that, but sooner or later, he's going to be on the ISO. He's going to take someone off the ISO, cross him up, finish at the rim. I'm waiting to see it, Diawara. Let's go.
My take on DOR is what I've been saying. They already kind of brushed it, but what I've been saying was, and I'm actually quote Lee on it, F's and picks, because we got Mikal and we got Mo. We got Mikal and we got Mo, and I don't think that, at least said today, I don't think that the Nets will draft anybody.
She loves telling me F and picks.
F and picks. I don't think that the Nets are going to draft anybody better than Mo either, Lee. I have to agree with you. I don't think that there's anybody that the Knicks could draft. However, All-Star is hard to tell. We haven't seen a full sample size. There are some players who do play great in just the little minutes that they get, and if they play more, they might play worse, or if they play a little less, who knows, So I have to see again. Mo have a season where he played 25 plus minutes to see where his highest ceiling is. However, I do think it's also hard to tell when we have players like OG Mikal who've never made an All-Star, but yet they are great players. So I could see his upside kind of being a guy who's just a great starter, and possibly making an All-Star too if he's going to play like this, but it's hard to tell All-Star, so I can't vouch for that just yet. But I do definitely agree with you and Ryan on a starter for sure. I don't see how he doesn't start in this league with his size, with his talent, and especially with how he's shooting the three balls. Now it's a three ball league, so especially with his size, big guys shooting the three ball. Mm-hmm. So I can see how he keeps a job for that simple fact.
That's a fact.
And I hope that we're able to just lock him in. Again, he's the same thing with Shamit. There's not much to say because they've been doing it all season. From the first game that Mo finally got a chance, we were this, and I wouldn't say overrated, but this is why we've been hyped about it, because he showed his potential tremendously, and he continues to show it, especially in big games now with the Spurs, with OKC. These are not just bad, these are great teams, and he's a 51st pick, a rookie, 20 years old, doesn't have much experience, and he's coming out and he's shooting 3 for 3. He's another person that when he came into the game along with Shamit, they turned the game around. Without his 3 3-pointers, I don't know where we would have been in the game. So I don't have much to say. He's just going to continue to show, and I hope that we get to see more in the postseason where the world gets to see, not just the Knicks fans.
When I think of a guy who made the All-Star team once, I think about Josh Hart. I'm in Dallas, watched a lot of that game. Josh Howard was a starter on a finals team. He was second best player on that team. He only made the All-Star game once in like 06 or 07, but he was a very good two-way wing. I think that is Mo Diaware's floor. The ceiling, to me, is like a Sean Marion, but with a 3-ball. Same type.
The ceiling actually is Kawhi Leonard.
I don't think the ceiling is Kawhi Leonard. Now you're talking about like the Hall Diawara ceiling. No, that I'm not going to go that far.
No, play style, not like play style, but not necessarily.
Like, you mean like two-way? Like, yeah, he has to develop a mid-range shot. A lot of what Kawhi has, the handle, the mid-range, the snake dribble, he doesn't have any of that right now, right? And he hasn't even dunked yet. Again, so but what he's showing me is someone that doesn't need athleticism in order to dominate. He actually moves pretty fluidly around the court. He doesn't have like areas of a court that he's only comfortable in. He seems to be comfortable everywhere. Comfortable as a stringer, comfortable in DHOs. He's comfortable as a catch and shoot shooter. He's comfortable pulling up from the corners with the defense draped over him. That to me scales at an all-star level. So to me, I think he can be a 4, 5-time all-star, 2, 3-time all-NBA. Now this is what I think ceiling wise, because the skill set he's coming to the NBA, the things that he's super comfortable, maybe even cocky at, are all the things that the NBA is trending towards. And I hope it happens, and it better be on the Knicks.
Listen, man, I don't know what's going to happen. I can't see the future. I know he has a lot of potential. And sometimes it's like skill plus being in the right team plus having the right opportunities.
Great point, Jay.
Allows you to kind of reach their potential. Right now, he's in a great situation where he has just enough wiggle room to get some minutes because we don't have a lot of big wings off the bench, and we have Deuce McBride out. So he's getting a little bit more extended play. Also, we have veterans who are obviously souping his head up. Every post game for the last few days, I watched Landry Shamet gush over him and go, I tell him to shoot the ball. Every time he touches, I say, shoot it. And I can imagine if he's saying that, his coach is saying that, I can see them like before the games, they're like playing Rocky for him right before the game. It's like you get in there all hyped and shooting 25 feet. So I'm happy for the kid. He has a lot of potential. I used to watch the Toronto Raptors and look at their development people and look at the guys coming off their bench and go, man, I wish we had like a wing that was a project that later we developed and was able to be a starter. I remember saying that like two years ago. And now I'm like, oh, look at that. Mo Diawara in the flesh, right on time. And Knicks, they kept swinging on those wings, man. They swung up a comb, thought he was it, and it looks like they got a hit with Diawara. So kudos to the Knicks. It looks like we found a gem, and hopefully he continues. All right. The only thing I really want to talk about rest is the refs in this game. I don't want to bitch about the refs, but one of the critical plays of the game where I feel like the refs kind of interrupted something or just put their imprint on it was the Jalen Brunson charge drawn on SGA in the first quarter that should have been his third foul that wasn't called. That pissed me the hell off. I saw it from 3 or 4 different angles. It's earned Mike Brown his first tech of the season, and rightfully so. We lost by 3 points. You missed free throws. That one tech could be counted as one. And the other 2 came from the other charge that was taken away when OG Anunoby got called for a charge in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
Didn't hit the guy nearly as flush as Jalen Brunson was hit. Barely even hit him in the chest, like pretty much grazed his shoulder.
Yeah.
And we got 2 points taken away. That was annoying. Now, granted, I don't want to say that's the only reason we lost. There was other subsequent reasons we lost. Actually, SGA had hit a big 3 in the fourth quarter on the clutch over OG, which was his only 3 and a big 3.
He did not choke.
Yeah. And when it came time to hit the big shot, they hit the big shot, and we missed the big shot. Yeah. So you tip their hat off to them.
Facts.
But the ref did not do us any favors in those moments. And
or Jay, the Mikal Bridges foul where Bridges didn't foul him. Do you remember that one too? Where he kind of.
Well, I wasn't sure if it was calling because his leg kicked out.
He kicked him.
I don't even know, man. I don't know what's a foul, what's not anymore.
But those 2 were the biggest game changers. I do agree.
Yeah.
for sure. Taking away 2 points when that on the call, that should have been a no call. I thought they was gonna review it and it was gonna be a no call and the points counted. That was just infuriating what to watch.
Yeah,
definitely.
Anybody else have anything to mention about this game?
well, we
Oh,
gotta talk about
Sohan, of
Karl
course.
Towns. We gotta talk about Karl Towns.
Karl Towns? Did we talk about Karl Towns? What are your thoughts on Karl Towns, B?
I just want to discuss his game. We actually saw some things that it kind of sounds like a broken record with Towns because we can't keep saying that he's finally doing something if we're going to keep talking about him finally doing it. So I just liked his defense this game, and his rebound was just out of this world. He had a season high in the offensive rebounds. He had 17 rebounds today, and he is, I feel like, the reason why we kind of wasn't able to close out the game. I think if he was on the court for once, we've actually could have possibly won the game.
I agree.
And it's funny because this is a guy that people either didn't want on our team or were trying to trade him mid-season. And I think we could have won this game had he stood on the court. And I think he was also a part of the refs' issue. No, secondly.
Only for Giannis, all right? Just for Giannis. Come on.
I think he was actually one of a part of the refs too. There was a foul on him. I don't think he would have fouled out if there was another call where they called a foul on him and he did not foul. So he would have ended with fouls versus the 6. So I just want to discuss just another fantastic game for him, and because we haven't been able to say that a lot throughout the season. So, and since the All-Star, this is another game you could pile on to that run that he's having right now. 17-17 is great. He also had a very great pass to Shamet for that and one that kind of got the game where the momentum shifted to. He made a lot of momentum shifted games, and his defense was actually really decent today. I think I did want to the reason why I brought him up too, because some people felt if Mitch would have played, but I don't think Mitch would have made quite of a difference today for the sole fact that they play so small. And you don't put Mitch on Chet. Chet had an amazing game today, and that's where you got to talk about Jeremy Shohan. There's a few people I want to talk about. Jeremy Shohan, I don't know how he comes in and only plays 2 minutes, and in those 3 possessions that he played, he forces a turnover, gets a steal and a jump ball in just those time frames where I think I would like to see the cat and Shohan. What the hell? Exactly, Mike Brown. I would like to see that lineup more with Shohan and Towns. I just want to give Towns his credit when it is due, because it's hard to give him his credit throughout the season because he's been having such an up and down season. But I think since the All-Star break, he's been amazing, and I think he had another amazing game.
Yeah, we did it. 7th, we did it.
May I go?
Go ahead.
I want. All right, B. You and I are agreeing a lot today. I agree 100%. I think since the All-Star break, he's been the MVP of the team. I think he's been the overall the engine of our offense, and he's played the defense that he's played has me becoming a believer that we can win a championship with him at the 5, because he is playing above average defense and has played above average defense now for a little over a month. Now, what's maddening is that as efficient as he is the most efficient player on the team, but for some reason he only takes 8 shots this game. And this is not just Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson did try to mess with some actions with him, but it was also Jose Alvarado, who is usually such a connector with Karl-Anthony Towns. Today I saw him look off of him 2 or 3 times in a series of possessions when Towns had a seal in the paint on a smaller defender. When he has Alex Caruso, Joker is not as aggressive at scoring. He's more looking for the pass. Towns has put the head down and he's going to get to the paint. If he's got Alex Caruso on him, give that big body the ball and let him go to work. And he's going to abuse Alex Caruso, as he should. But that can only happen if he's getting the touches. Even a touch shifts the offense. A touch demands someone has to change how they're hedging on the 3-point line because of that experience and not explosiveness, but power that he has on the block. And then it starts a kick-out chain, right? If Towns has it, then shift, he passes out, then the defense shifts again, but his man has to stay on him, because if he gets that intake pass back, bro, it's 2 points in the paint. He's been so aggressive getting to the paint. I think he's been more controlled and patient and mature at getting to the paint as well, because he's starting his drives a little bit shorter. But even when he's starting on a 3-point line, he's maneuvering his angles and not just barreling to the paint like we saw him. I'm sure he's working with Mike Bryant on different types of coverages and how to manipulate that to get to the paint using his footwork instead of his shoulders. Listen, I've been really impressed by the offense and the defense maturity of Karl-Anthony Towns. I think he needs to shoot the most shots on the team every single night. And it doesn't mean that it's all post-ups, like Jay said earlier. It doesn't mean that it's all mid-range pick and pops. But let's add in more three-point shots. No threes from Cat. What's the point of having a 5 who can shoot threes if he doesn't even take one? To me, that is mismanagement in my part on both Brown, on Leon, because it's a collaborative experience now, remember? So it can't just be put on the coach. It's everyone that has say-so and authority on that bench. Let's get him the ball and not put it all on Brunson. It's all the teammates, including Alvarado, and it's on Cat to demand that M effort. Give me the ball and let me go to work. That has to happen as well. I've been extremely impressed by Karl-Anthony Towns. Again, MVP since All-Star break.
Yeah, he's been surprisingly. When you think about Karl-Anthony Towns, you don't think of him as a two-way player. But he's kind of having like a two-way-ish season. And I've been very hesitant to call him out defensively, call him out and give him praise defensively publicly, because every time I've seen to have done that, I've got an egg on my face a week later. And when he regresses back into the Cat, that annoyed the ever living hell out of me. But he's been holding strong on the defensive end. He's been the highest plus minus rated player on the team. And he seems to have turned the corner. I like the way he's been passing. I like the way he's been passing on drives. He seems like in the beginning of the season, he would drive, and once he was driving, that was it. Now he's actually kicking out on drives and diversifying the type of passes, his type of passes on the move. Like Lee said earlier, the body control. Even like B and I've been saying this all the time. It seems like he doesn't know how to use his body all the time. Like I felt like he looked like for the first half of the season anyway that he was playing basketball tall all his life. And what I mean by that is when you start off playing basketball taller than everybody, you don't use any footwork. You don't use any skill. You just rest on the fact that you're taller. And because you just rest on the fact that you're taller, there's no strategy. You're just trying to put the ball in the hoop. Now it seems like he's using his body correctly to bump people off his spots before he makes his move, or use his shoulders as shield for a hook. He just seems like a lot more controlled. I don't know. He's been working with the Knicks big man coach before All-Star break, but he just seems a lot more controlled in how he's playing the game on both sides. And I feel like it's giving him his confidence in his shooting, because his shooting's been better too. So it's a shame that he didn't get to shoot as much today. We have to find more creative ways to get him the ball in certain spots if we can't get him the ball in the post.
Talk that talk.
Yeah. All right.
I just wanted to make one more point though too. With the shooting, OG cannot shoot 13 three-pointers. I know a lot of people don't agree with that.
I do.
I said it for you. That's where again you could take with 7. You could take that's how I felt with 13 3-pointers, only making 4. At some point you have to. It's funny how we're saying we're giving Shaman his credit for driving now, where OG you have to take a page out of Shaman's book now. If the 3 balls and falling, get to the paint. So that's the only thing I last have to say. I don't like the fact that OG took 13 3-pointers today.
I'm with you, B. Yeah, he was late a few times on Chet pick and pops too, that allowed Chet to get some good looks from 3. I thought his defense overall on SGA was pretty good. I think there were a few possessions where I saw him shading a little bit too hard on other players looking for the pass instead of SGA's drive, but I think he guarded him better, certainly better than Bridges and better than Hart and better than Diawara. And OG wasn't on him all the time, but he probably guarded him the most overall. But yeah, the offensive game. I mean, bro, you're one of the only guys on a team who can attack a closeout. Like, well, maybe not. Maybe the short corner closeout, not necessarily from at the top of the key, but you're also the only guy on the team who dunks. We got to have you in the paint. No free throw attempts. Come on, man. You have 0 free throw attempts and 13 3-point attempts. That's a ridiculous shot diet from anyone, from Jalen Brunson, especially from you, OG Anunoby.
I always go back and forth with the 3 versus no 3s thing, because I'm always thinking, are they open 3s or what type of 3s are they? You know what I'm saying? Like I get the notion that I definitely do like him when he attacks closeouts and he gets to the hole and he dunks it on people's head. But also sometimes I don't want you to hesitate too much, because then you end up with a Josh Hart situation, which is what I don't want. because when Josh Hart is just like, I'm not shooting threes, I'm just dunking on people, and then that's when you get the clutter. So like I struggle with the don't shoot threes thing sometimes, especially when they're open threes from a guy who's known for hitting threes. So I don't know. I struggle.
Well, that's where IQ kind of goes into play, though. There is a point when in the game where you realize my threes aren't falling today. I gotta take a dribble and just go get a little bit closer. I understand that they're open, but you're not making them.
I feel you. I guess more than anything, be decisive. I think that's really what it is too. I think that's the thing that Josh Hart.
And I just think that's where he. If you watch every possession this whole entire season, that's where he's standing and waiting for the ball too. That's also a big issue. He has to cut more, I believe. He's waiting for the 3-pointer, and he's literally. That's what he wants to shoot, a 3. I don't see him wanting to do anything else except shoot a 3.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you not have to reset it?
I agree with that. And I see the chat. Who was it? Bonner Lee bringing up the Bridges shot 17 times, the same amount of times I believe that the OG and Anunoby had for field goals. So Bridges mixed it up a lot more than OG and Anunoby did. Well, you know that Bridges did to the paint that often, but he still went to the line 3 times and made 2 of his free throws. So 6 of 17 overall from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. To me, Bridges wasn't over checking from the 3-point line, and he was pretty good in the mid range. I actually wanted more shots from Bridges tonight. I wanted to see him a little bit more aggressive and for us to utilize him more, especially when Brunson's set. But I'm not upset with Bridges' offensive process as much as I am OG and Anunoby.
I thought Bridges was, I mean, he went to the hole. I feel like he's been going to the hole a lot more recently.
Yeah.
I feel like he had at least 3 or 4 shots at the rim where he was actually challenged. One of the foul shots he got was he was trying to go up on somebody at the rim and then bang legs, and that's how he ended up in the free throw line in the first place. I've seen an uptick in McCall aggressiveness in spots, not necessarily like 17 shots per se, but I'm not gonna just be a mid-range guy all the time, and I'm liking that. I'm liking the trend.
Bridges has to get off ball quicker. That goes to my initial point about Bridges. I mean, Brunson probing too much and staying on ball until he has the right angle that either leads to the pass or leads to the shot. He needs to get off that ball quicker because when Bridges catches it, he's always attacking a set defense instead of a rotating shell. Like let's get Bridges in some more actions knowing when Brunson's downhill, either he's a catch and shoot in the corner and then he can attack the closeout instead of him having to be catching at the nail, having made a quick decision, and now he's 2 guys are blitzing him. Let's give him better opportunities that only comes if you play like OKC, where SGA's like, I'll walk it up, but I'm going to let go of it real quick and then set a screen from somebody and allow an advantage there. We're not seeing that from the Brunson Bridges 2-man game. And that's not just on Bridges. That's on the whole team to give him those advantages for everyone to help each other out.
Good point.
That's not happening, but, I'm an optimist. What are you going to do?
All right. Anything else you guys want to mention before we close this out?
I'm good.
Rough picks.
Yeah, I got some.
All right. Okay. What you got, Lee?
Well, I got a new pick and a bruh pick. Ooh pick is to the KOT family and supporters and fans. Y'all really been helping us out with the Substack. 235 likes now on the Substack post. I used to get like 4, and now back to back over 200 likes on those posts. First on the Diawara breakdown, and now the new one on the Josh Hart conundrum. And I got 10 subscribers combined between the Diawara and Josh Hart one. So listen, y'all keep loving the content. I'm gonna go by what the interaction is and start gearing the content toward that. You guys really seem like these player profiles more so than like really heavy X and O schematic things. So I'm gonna start doing more of that stuff to appease our readers. We appreciate the support. This is a group thing, man. And if anyone on KOT team wants to try their hand at writing, you're more than welcome to. I would love to work with anybody on getting a piece up, including my main man, Mikey Murphy, as well. Bruh Pitt, man. This country's done absolute shit, man. Every day I wake up with rage and I go to sleep with rage. And the only break where I clear my head is when I smoke a little J and watch the Knicks and come on here and chat with y'all. I've just been so frustrated with the way this country's going. And I know it's been bad. It started bad, right? The way that it was founded. I understand that. There's definitely been more difficult times for specific groups of people, but now it's awful for absolutely everybody. And just to watch that Marine sergeant, I believe his name was Brian McGinnis, shouting out in the Senate about not dying for Israel, and then the guards and that damn senator, I think he's from Montana, this guy who got over $600,000 from AIPAC, goes over there and yanks him. Someone who put his life on a line yanks him out of the chambers and breaks his arm. Bro, I was just like,
I didn't even see. I don't know. I didn't see anything you talking about, Lee, but it sounds crazy.
Thank God for therapy, meditation, prayer, faith in God, faith in something bigger than myself. Because if this was me 10 years ago, I would be doing ape shit. Y'all see me on the news, man. I'll be crashing out bad. This is just like, I really am disturbed for the next generation of kids. What are they inheriting? What are we going to leave? We have to fight for this in order for them to have a better life than us. And I've just been really disgusted by the direction that America is going. And this administration is absolutely demonic. And it terrifies me that there's there's 3 more years of this. And there seems to be no admonishing or discipline for any of this Epstein abuse. Other countries are doing way more than us for arresting these Satanists, in my opinion. And now we have service members dying for another country's interest over ours. It's just absolutely depressing. Again, I say this all to say that I'm very thankful for you guys and my KOT family that I have y'all to chat and to crack jokes on and to be roasted and to roast back and to watch the Knicks with y'all and to hopefully celebrate a win,
Yeah, I feel you. Too much money in government, man. That's really what it is. Too much money in government. And it felt like it's almost too late to get it out of government, but
agreed.
It kind of starts with why we're in freaking Israel's pocket right now. But all right, yo, Ryan G, any bro picks me?
Not really. I mean, brought pick to the refs tonight.
Yep.
Some calls that went against the Knicks, and overall, I'm just gonna say, Knicks Nation, keep your head up. I know y'all upset about this loss against OKC, but trust me, it kind of reminds me of all those 2 different situations, but it kind of reminds me of the season where the New England Patriots were going undefeated the whole season, and the New York Giants for that last game was like, okay, you know what? We already made the playoffs, but we're gonna play our starters. We're not gonna rest nobody, and we're gonna go hard against the Patriots, try to give them their first loss. Although the Giants lost that game, it gave them confidence that they could actually go up. They could actually face the team head to head if they were to see them in the Super Bowl. And then guess what happens? They see each other in the Super Bowl, and the Giants beat that ass. So don't get too discouraged. I think this game is going to be a positive for the Knicks in the long run because last season, OKC bust the Knicks. You know what?
Yep.
Both games blew them out. I think the fact that they actually hung in there with the Thunder tonight, I think that's going to give them a lot of confidence going forward because sometimes a loss can be turned into a positive. So don't be too down. I think this is going to turn into a positive for the Knicks going forward.
No cap, that gave me chills. Like the hair on my arm stood up. That I needed that, bro. Appreciate that.
I agree. I feel like this is like okay. This game was like, okay, last year we couldn't hang with them. We got the same players for the most part. We bolstered our bench a little bit, changed our system, and now we lost by 3 in the winnable game.
Yep, we had a shot at the very end.
Didn't blow anything up. You shuffle the cards a little bit. We're right back in there. So I think this emboldens us, like Ryan G said. We just have to keep you have to keep tightening the screws. This is why I was saying it's only January, because you're going to keep building on wins, building on habits, looking at film, making adjustments. And so by the time we get to the playoffs, which is in 20 games from now, there's going to be some more wrinkles for us. There's going to be more things that we worked on. And we're going to tighten the screws even better. So hopefully we'll be in a better place during playoffs than we were this week. So I'm very encouraged by what I saw today. And I think we can build on it.
Y'all cooking.
All right. B, let them know they can find you.
Find me here, KOT, or if not on Twitter, Sporty Spice, SPORTY SPICCE. Say let's go.
What? Knicks.
Jalen. That's right.
That's right. Teach them young, damn it. All right.
Yes.
Oh man, Lee, let them know they can find you, Lee.
On Twitter at _Lee Escobedo, LeeEscobedo, and please subscribe to the Substack. Fritz has dropped the link in there a couple of times. Try and do some good work. Lots of Knicks YouTube channels have a Substack. I'm trying to have the best one, trying to give really deep analysis, covering things that no one else is covering them. Maybe have a hyperbolic title, but the article itself is deep and rich with context and nuance. Y'all's support has meant a lot to me. I love how into it. You guys are reading our Substack at a higher rate than my articles from the past are posted and toasting, right? Smaller sample size, but the open rates are like beyond 70% in the emails. And people are finding us through Substack.com, finding us through Twitter. The Twitter openings are almost as much as the email opens, which is, bro, it's growing. So we appreciate that, and we definitely want to continue it.
Absolutely. Let's go. All right, Ryan G, let me know where can find you, sir.
You can find me on Twitter at RyanGKOT. You can also find me on Instagram at Sir G is chilling.
Sir G is chilling.
That is SIR. G is CHILLIN. And yes, CeeLo. I think that's a perfect analogy right there. It was like when Rocky hit Drago and Rocky's corner screams out he bleeds. Exactly. That's exactly what the Knicks did to the Thunder tonight. Exactly.
Oh man. Good analogy. All right, you can find us at the KOT Show on Twitter, at the Knick of Time Show on Instagram, the Knick of Time Show on Facebook as well. All right, we will be back. We got another one. Knicks, Nuggets, the rematch. They're gonna be pissed. All right, they're gonna be mad because they lost in overtime before. And not only will we be playing the Nuggets in Denver, but they're going to have help. All right, because what player who's injured coming back for that game? Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon is coming back for that.
And they didn't have. I don't think they had Johnson the last game either.
Who?
Not that it matters.
Oh, Cam Johnson.
Cam Johnson.
Oh,
yeah, damn.
Oh yeah, him too.
What a disappointment.
Yeah, him too. But Aaron Gordon.
But yeah,
They just
Aaron
signed
Gordon
Tyus
back in.
Jones bum ass too.
Yeah. So yeah, lace up those Nikes. Lace up some Nikes for that game. All right, yo. That is the show. Thank you guys for watching. And as always,
shout out to Worldwide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
Mess out here in these Knicks streets. That's the show. We out of here.
Peace.
York, New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.